Oh, the place where I was raised helped me reach these greater days. A little place I call my old Kentucky home. I picked up these 6 old strings, tried so hard to play and sing, and like anything, gets better over time. I got used to how things were. With this change I wasn't sure. Many nights that I'd get home past 10 a.m. I found a place where I fit in, where my journey will begin in company. It's been said that time is only just a number. You try to make the most of each and every day. Staying real is just the key. It isn't hard for me to see, because I know that all this time is just for me. I've made friends from everywhere around this country, because music has a way of touching hearts. It's just a shame that we don't see each other often, but when we do, we pick up right where we left off. I hope that pattern stays the same. A little change won't hurt this game. Some moments are just better left untouched. Still got time within my eyes, 'cause it never tells a lie to me. It's been said that time is only just a number. You try to make the most of each and every day. Staying real is just the key. It isn't hard for me to see, 'cause I know that all this time is just for me. Well, I know that time is only just a number. I try to make the most of every day I've got. Staying real is just the key. It isn't hard for me to see, 'cause I know that all this time is just for me. Yeah, I love that all this time is just for me.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
How did you get started playing guitar? When did you start playing guitar?
Well, I was 6 years old when I started. My parents told me that I started begging for a guitar by the age of 4.
Did you come from a musical family?
Actually, no. Really, neither of my parents play. They're not musicians. My mom claims that she plays the radio, but they both love music, and that's one thing that they always made sure of, is surrounding me by music. I mean, they took me to my first concert when I was just 2 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, so I started asking for a guitar around the age of 4, and when I was 6, they gave in and got me a guitar, but the deal was is that I had to take lessons and learn how to play. And I didn't care. I was determined. I was kind of a strange 6-year-old in that way. But yeah, I started taking lessons and learning the basics of the guitar. And I wasn't very happy with the first guitar that I got, because it wouldn't stay in tune. It was kind of a lower end nylon type nylon string guitar. And I came downstairs one day when I was practicing, and I said, "Dad," I said, "we've got a problem." He's like, "Okay, what?" He said, "This guitar will not stay in tune." And so he said, "Well," he said, "you know, if you keep working like you are," he said, "we'll get you a better guitar." So that was kind of motivation for me to continue playing, and so the more that I played and the more that I progressed, I guess the better quality guitars that they got me. So
That's right.
I'm pretty lucky to have supportive parents, both my mom and dad. I'm an only child, and shout out to my mom and dad who are watching online right now, and my grandparents are watching too. But yeah, so I'm just so
you're from Kentucky, Central
yes.
Kentucky. Where at?
It's just south of Lexington, Kentucky, near Richmond. Oh, well, the town is Richmond. It's a town of about 30,000 people. Yeah, and it's I was actually born in Indiana, Both my parents went to Purdue, and when I was 4 months old, we moved to Kentucky for my mom's job.
Yeah.
So Kentucky is all that I've ever known, and
Yeah.
it's home for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the Bluegrass
Wonderful.
State.
Wonderful. And so how old are you now?
I'm 19.
You're 19 now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now you're actually going to school at Belmont, just down the road from here.
Just a few streets over. I'm a sophomore at Belmont, majoring in music business. So
Music business.
trying to learn about the this industry and just maybe do a little math too.
Well, I know that you've had many mentors along the way. Who have been some players that kind of got you going?
Well, through the years, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of really cool people and work with a lot of really cool people.
Yeah.
Like the guy that showed me how to play the style that I do now, his name was Adrian Hughes, and he lived in my hometown, and he was the one who I give my credit to for showing me how to play the Merle Travis, Chet Atkins style.
Yeah.
And also Pat Kirtley, he's another
Of
fingerstyle
course,
guitar player. But I've had a lot of support from guys like John Knowles
Yeah.
and Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Those guys have been just the biggest supporters. And
Yeah.
actually, John and Tommy are responsible for starting the group, the Young Thumbs, as
Yeah.
well, which is
And that's part of the Chet Atkins Association, or
It was started at the Chet
Started at
Atkins
the Chet Atkins
Association
convention.
probably about 6 years ago, 6 or
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
It was about the time that I started going there.
yeah.
And I was 12 when I went to my first Chet Atkins Appreciation Society convention.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But now the Young Thumbs, there's quite a few folks that are in that.
there are, and I mean, it's just more and more. It seems like all the time
Yeah.
there's people coming out of the woodwork that are just amazing players, and I get so inspired when I hear other people too,
Yeah.
no matter what their skill level is. And
Yeah.
I've found that I can learn something from anybody.
Of
so.
course. Of course. Tell us about the wonderful instrument that you're playing today.
Yeah, so this is a guitar.
Mhm.
this is a 6-string guitar. No, this is a guitar made by a good friend of mine from close to Knoxville, Tennessee. His name's David Wallace,
Yeah.
and he's a luthier that builds acoustic, electric guitars. He can pretty much build any style guitar that you
Mhm.
want. And this guitar I've been playing for probably 5 years now, and this is a guitar that was built in 2013, but the woods on it.
Yeah,
on
maybe we
the-
can get some close-up shots.
Yeah,
of
on the
some of
top
woods.
it's
Gorgeous
cedar.
inlay.
Yep,
Yeah.
cedar on the top, and then on the back and sides is spalted maple. So
Gorgeous.
yeah, it's a beautiful wood, and it's got a brighter tone to it, which I like, and
Mhm.
it's kind of adapted to my playing style.
Yeah.
So it's become kind of my sound. So.
And you are running through nothing. You are going right from your guitar into your AER amp.
Exactly. Yep.
And then
Compact 60.
we've got an XLR line that's going right to the board. So he is just coming direct right from his guitar,
Mhm.
and it sounds amazing.
Oh, thank you. I love the sound of it as well.
Yeah.
So
Those AERs do a great job.
Yeah.
Those are great amps.
they get the job done.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit about your technique.
Yeah.
Merle Travis, the thumb picking.
Mhm.
Tell us. Well, first of all, tell us about your pick. What are you playing
yeah,
with there?
So this pick that I use, that I'm using currently, is a blue chip pick,
Mhm.
and these are banjo players use these picks, guitar players use these picks. They make flat picks as well, excellent flat picks. But this is their standard thumb pick.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Let me see
I
that.
don't know if.
Maybe we can get a close up. Okay.
Yeah, and it's interesting because for different guitars, I use different picks. So like when I'm playing steel string, which is most of the time, I'm using blue chip pick usually. But like when I'm playing my nylon Kirk Sand guitar or my Gretsch guitar, I'm usually using like a Fred Kelly pick.
Yeah. Fred Kelly's are great.
Mhm. So.
Well, these are fantastic picks. Actually, I contacted the good folks over at Blue Chip Picks, and they are providing a pick we're going to be giving away a little bit later on in the program from our good friends over at Blue Chip Picks. A lot of good people recommending them these days. I've heard so many good things about them.
Well, and the reason that I like them is just because whenever I'm playing like a Merle Travis style or Chet Atkins, I really like to have a what I call a heavy thumb.
Yeah.
So I guess I could kind of explain that
Yeah,
now.
please do.
Yeah, so for those of you who aren't thumb pickers, really what it is your band is in your hand. So you don't need to have, anybody to play with, which is nice because your thumb does all the work. It plays the bass and the rhythm.
In bass and the rhythm. So your fingers aren't doing anything else at this point.
Right.
That's all thumb right there.
Yes. Yeah, I'll even put my fingers down there on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's just all my... And then once you get comfortable with your thumb, keeping the bass and the rhythm, your fingers can start to play the melody.
Wonderful,
like that,
wonderful. A classic song, Freight Train, for everybody to
It's a great song to start off with.
Great song to start off with. Are there some exercises just for like a beginning person who's just trying that style? You got that C chord, and you start doing that alternating bass between C and G,
Right.
and then you work on getting the inner part of the chord, hitting that with the thumb as well.
Yeah.
Which is kind of that's the Merle Travis way of kind of the thumb picking is to do it all with the thumb.
Yeah, and I think that, I think that Merle Travis and Chet Atkins, each had their own sound. I mean, Merle Travis was kind of like a honky-tonk piano player almost.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was really a little more aggressive.
He played more chords with his thumb picking style. That's like a Merle Travis versus like Chet Atkins was a lot cleaner with it.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, maybe he'd get a couple more strings in there like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference there.
I remember Tom Bresh was on the show one time just talking about kind of the subtle differences between the two in their approach and the technique that makes it work behind that. So as you're going between different chords, kind of explain, as you're adding other notes to it, how are your other fingers grabbing those other notes?
Yeah, so when I started, I kind of assigned my fingers to different strings. So depending on what chord I'm playing, my fingers will move based on the string. So like my index finger is usually playing the D string, and middle finger is playing the G string, and then my third finger is usually playing the B string. But based on the chord, that could shift down a whole set of strings. But one thing that I like to tell people that might be beginning thumb picking style is, get your chord and start playing like that, and then start to build in some notes. So and then once you get comfortable with that, add some notes. So I'm using 2 fingers now, and now 3 fingers. So that's a good starting point.
Excuse me, I'm kind of getting over a cold. As you guys have questions out there, please just type them in all caps, and we'll try and get to as many of them as we can. Casper. Hey, Casper Espin.
Casper, how you doing?
Come on, Casper. We need to get you back. Casper, hey, Parker, stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch you live from Denmark.
Awesome. Man, he's a great player.
Amazing player.
You need to check out his stuff on YouTube.
That's right. In fact, we had Casper on our show probably about 8 months ago. So... awesome. Casper, man, get some sleep, man. What are you doing?
Go to bed.
All right. All right, we have some other people that are chatting around there. All right. Along the way, you have gone through many competitions and have won many awards along the way. I was looking on your website, parkerhastingsguitar.com. and the International Home of the Legends Thumb Picking Competition. You were the youngest person to win the Grand Champion back in 2014 in both the traditional and the contemporary categories.
That's right.
Tell us about that competition a little bit.
Yeah, so every weekend, it's the last full weekend in September.
Mhm.
It's actually coming up next weekend for those of you that are in the area. It's in Central City, Kentucky,
Mhm.
Powderly, Kentucky, Greenville. That's all kind of the same area.
So this is not Winfield.
No.
Winfield's a different deal.
Yes, which
Yeah.
actually I think
Which-
Winfield might be going on this week.
Yeah, I think Winfield's going on. Yeah, this coming weekend.
Yeah. So, but this Home of the Legends thumb-picking competition is something that has been going on for 20 plus years. I'm probably even more than that. But they have a competition on Saturday of the weekend, but on Friday night they have their Hall of Fame inductions.
Mhm.
And the members of the National Thumb Pickers, like the Hall of Fame, the different members can vote on their favorite thumb picking recording or their thumb picker of the year, or like the living thumb picker or supporting musician. And I had the honor of, when I released my first EP in 2015, in 2016 they awarded it as the recording of the year.
Wow. Amazing.
And then the next year I put out another recording, a full album, Breezing Through Life, and that was awarded the thumb picking recording of the year as well. And currently I was awarded in 2018 as the thumb picker of the year.
Of the year.
And for those of you watching, I am saying thumb picker, not nose picker or anything like that. So,
and you've won that thumb picker of the year more than once, haven't you? Or is it just
yes, actually
Okay. Was it 2015?
Yes.
I think I remember reading.
I shared that with Joe Hudson, he's the executive director, president of the National Thumb Pickers Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he's the one who runs, he and his wife Stacy, they run that show, that run the whole weekend really. And it's incredible the work that they do. So that's on the Friday night, and then on the Saturday night, or Saturday during the day, they have their competition. And so there's two categories, like you said. There's the traditional, which is going to be your Merle Travis, Chet Atkins, maybe a little bit of Jerry Reed, and then contemporary, which could be Tommy Emmanuel or just any fingerstyle stuff.
Yeah.
And you can enter in both competitions. And what happens is the winners of each category face off in like a playoff for the grand prize. And in 2014, I entered in both categories, and that year there actually wasn't any playoff because I won both the traditional and the contemporary. So that was pretty cool. And,
Very cool.
And I got a nice Gretsch guitar, 6120 out of the deal. So
beautiful.
Very nice.
Now, I've seen you play electric and I've seen you play acoustic. Is there a preference that you have?
I love playing electric a lot, but I don't get to. I say I don't get to play it enough because when I play electric, I usually like to have a band around me or something and just maybe go a little bit crazy. But for the style and the things that I've been writing, and I don't know, I just feel like acoustic is more suited for me. But like I said, I enjoy playing both. So.
Well, I remember seeing you at the guitar night over at the City Winery not too long ago, a couple of months back with some other players, and I must admit, you opened the show, and that was the most. I enjoyed your set more than any that night, and just it was a wonderful crowd that night. And I remember us sitting with Van Larkins there, another great fingerstyle player, and you just blew the doors off it.
And that was a lot of fun.
That was a great event.
Cool to get to play in Nashville, too.
Yep. Gina Mandello put that group together that night and has done several of those at the City Winery and is doing great. And now Gina is actually the Fingerstyle Collective competition, which has been going on in Arkansas, I think, sponsored by Candy Rat Records and Fret Monkey as well. They just finished up this past weekend, and I think just finished up, maybe today or yesterday, in preparation for Winfield.
Oh, cool.
And so on the contemporary end of fingerstyle, that was an amazing collection of players that were there for that competition as well. Now,
cool.
Tell us about the National Thumb Pickers Hall of Fame, which that's a different category. Or no, that was the same. That was the same thing.
Yeah, that was what they do on Friday night.
Okay.
They have their Hall of Fame night. So
I didn't know if that was a different type of a different competition off somewhere? Have you been to other competitions as well?
I have actually. I don't do too many competitions, but the other one that I guess I've recently been a part of is the Wayne Henderson competition over in the mouth of Wilson, Virginia. And Wayne Henderson, I don't know if
I'm not familiar with that.
yeah,
one.
he's a builder from Southern Virginia, and he's well known for building guitars for like Eric Clapton and Vince Gill and Tommy
Yeah.
Emmanuel and Ricky Skaggs. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a long list of people
Yeah.
that kind of got that he built guitars for. Is what kind of got him on the radar, and he builds an incredible guitar, mainly for bluegrass style players.
Yeah.
And they have a competition over there every third weekend in June, every third Saturday in June, and anybody can enter the competition, whether you're a bluegrass player or fingerstyle. But over there, it's primarily bluegrass because it's just part of the music that is heavily played in that area.
Yeah.
And how that works is they limit it to 20 contestants, and it's a random draw for how you get in. And luckily, the first year, somehow, when I put my name in, I got selected to be a contestant. And I went over there, and the first year I went was 2016, and I placed third. And then I went back the next year. If you place in the top 5, you get an automatic entry into the following year.
Yeah.
So I went back in 2017 and got second place. And then most recently, last summer in 2018, I won first place.
There you go.
So,
yep.
and first prize is a brand new Wayne Henderson guitar.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
I'm enjoying playing that, but a lot. So
Have had a couple of questions here. Someone is asking, B. Mo is asking, what strings do you use on your guitar?
currently I've got, I kind of bounce back and forth between Diodario, bluegrass strings, or right now I've got elixirs on there.
Okay. Now, the thumb picking world and the bluegrass world are pretty similar. Have you done any bluegrass flat picking sort of playing?
Yes, but not enough to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know some bluegrass songs and can play along with some great bluegrass players, but those guys can run circles around me with all those crazy licks and things.
Oh man.
And but I like to incorporate some of the bluegrass music into fingerstyle too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, we'll let you take a break here just for a second while let you catch your breath. It's been a busy week, a busy time for us here at Guitar Gathering. If you can, well, let's give something away while I'm thinking about it. Before we get to all of our announcement stuff, this is one of Parker's CDs. Tell us about this CD.
yeah, so I released this in 2017. It's a full album. I mentioned I'd put out an EP in 2015.
Right.
But this is a full album. It's got 12 songs on it, full of some originals, some arrangements, and just some songs that I like to play.
Where did you record it at?
I recorded it up in Goodlettsville with
Okay.
Richard Smith, actually.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Amazing.
another guy that's been a huge support,
Yeah.
and he's always willing to help. So
Fantastic. Well, someone is about to win this. The winner of this is Richard Pfeiffer. You have just won this. Send me your information. Oh, from Richard Pfeiffer from Sebring, Florida. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com and your address, your screen name, what you won, things like that. We'll have Parker, if you would be so gracious to autograph this before we go. That would be great, and we'll get it out to you. Doug is asking, Parker, is your string action pretty high for that technique, or is it? It looks about average.
it's
I wouldn't say
about
any
average,
different.
maybe just below, but I like to keep the neck pretty straight. So and I mean, I've always been told that you want to play something that's comfortable, which that's usually how I have it set up, is comfortable for the way I play.
Are you playing light strings? Are you doing mediums? What are you
They're
doing?
medium lights.
Medium lights from elixirs. Yeah.
Yep, I usually use like a 12 on the top, and then I really like a 56 in the bass, but those are kind of hard to find. So I settle for like a 54, 53.
Yeah, the thickness of those bass strings would help.
Yeah,
Help get that
For sure.
thump going on the thumb.
for sure.
All right, well, let's go through a couple of announcements here. Hey, if you aren't yet a part of our discussion board, you can go to guitargathering.com and join up. It's all for free. We've got new stuff over there all the time, and all the live lessons that we do are over there. We had our live lesson last week about just simple walk-ups and walk-downs. It's already gotten 2,000 views on that, and it has been the most downloaded of our downloads that we've had off our discussion board, those handouts. So if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and take a look at that. You can watch the video on our Guitar Gathering YouTube page, and then you can subscribe there, and then you can get the PDF over at guitargathering.com in the download section there. I just lifted out about 6 pages worth of material there, and then I gave about 3 pages on some jazz walking bass lines as well. So check it out if you didn't get a chance to look at that. Our fall fingerstyle guitar retreat that we have coming up end of October, October 31st through November 3rd, with international fingerstyle champion Don Ross is going to be with us, and Ethan Case is going to be with us, and Van Larkins is going to be with us. So we've got a stellar lineup. I've got 1 spot left for that. If you're interested, and it's for a gal, so we've got 1 spot left in the girls' room that we all board with. So the guys are on one side and the girls on the other. So we got 1 spot left in the girls' room, and so if you're interested, check it out, fingerstyleretreat.com, and we have 1 spot left, and then it'll be officially sold out. So that is a great event. We do that. We've been doing it the last 3 or 4 years, and we've had Phil Kagi and Trevor Gordon Hall and Christy Lene, and we've had some crazy great ones. It's great. It's a fantastic event. Big leather comfy couches, big stone fireplaces, and you're sitting 10 feet away from Phil Kagi as he's playing his stuff. So it's pretty cool. Check it out. If you can get in this year, great. If not, we'll be doing it again next year. We'll have some other great folks. Also check out, we do have up now our summer Guitar Gathering Conference, our big summer conference. So you can go to guitargathering2020.com, and that will get you all the information about our summer retreat, or summer conference, our large conference that we have. I believe it's June 10th through the 13th this year. So it's 4 or 5 days of all things guitar here in Nashville. Haven't got all the guests lined up. Last year, man, it was a stellar lineup with Johnny Hyland, and we had Russ Barenberg, and we had Phil Kagi, we've had Musicians Hall of Fame guitarist Will McFarlane, we've had the Blues Council, we had Jeff Berlin popped in last year, one of the greatest living bass players on the planet. Just happened to know the drummer, and so next thing I know, Jeff Berlin walks into our guitar conference.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool. Tom Bresch ended up playing a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny got him up for a couple of songs. It was great. So anyway, check out our summer conference if you're interested in that. And if you're one of the first 10 to sign up, of which we've already had some sign up, but we haven't reached 10 yet, you get a hat. And this hat, the vintage red, is going to Dave White, who I just saw his name flash past. Dave, I'm going to mail you your hat. Sorry, I haven't mailed it to you yet. I'll mail it to you, Dave. Anyway, you can get a free hat if you sign up, if you're one of the first 10 to sign up for that. All right, that's enough of me doing all of my announcements. I think I've got that done. Parker, your website, parkerhastingsguitar.com. If folks want to get to know you better and get to know your music, what you're doing, I was on there today looking at future shows. You're playing the Jerry Reed Show tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow night, actually, here in Nashville, off of Charlotte Pike, a place called Cabaret. It's Ray Stevens' place that he opened up not too long ago.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Gorgeous place.
And I'm honored to be a part of that show.
Who all's playing on that show with you?
So there's a group of the Young Thumbs that are going to be there, but like the headliners as well are like Leroy Parnell is going to be there, John Schneider, Tracy Lawrence is going to be there, just to name a few. So
wow,
yeah, it's going to be a good time. I was actually over there, a little earlier today, and we were running through some things, rehearsing, and it was cool to get to see Leroy and John Schneider and those guys, practice Jerry Reed songs, playing with a full band. And
that show has gotten bigger and bigger as the years and tributes have gone on.
It has. I mean, and they've moved around different spots as well. But yeah, Sedina Reed, which is Jerry's daughter, she is kind of in charge, and Richard Smith also.
Yeah.
They kind of work together and put together a great show, and they have members of Jerry's band through the years that those guys get together and they just celebrate and play the music of Jerry Reed. So
Fantastic.
it'll be a good time.
Can you play us another tune?
Sure, actually, with Jerry Reed on my mind.
Okay, all right.
I want to play a song that Ray Charles wrote, but this is Jerry Reed's style of it.
Okay.
This is called Hallelujah, I Love Her So. Let me tell you about a girl I know. She's my baby and she lives next door. And every morning when the sun comes up, she fills my coffee in my favorite cup. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. When I'm in trouble and I need a friend, I know she'll go with me until the end. Everybody asks me how I know. I smile at them and say, she told me so. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. When I call her on the telephone and tell her, honey, well, I'm all alone. And by the time I count from 1 to 4, I hear her on my door. In the evening when the sun goes down and there is nobody else around, she kisses me and she holds me tight and tells me, Parker, everything's alright. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. And when I call her on the telephone and tell her, honey, well, I'm all alone. And by the time I count from 1 to 4, I hear her on my door. In the evening when the sun goes down and there is nobody else around, kisses me and she holds me tight and tells me, Parker, everything's alright. That's why I know, yes I know, hallelujah, I just love her so. Hallelujah, I just love her so. Hallelujah, I just love her so. Do 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 do. Ha! Man, that Jerry Reed stuff is a good finger workout.
Yes, that and some. It is,
as you can tell.
It sounds so relaxed, but it is quite technical to play. Yeah, it is quite. Those of us that have tried to do that, it is not an easy style to just pick up and.
A lot of people call him a guitar thinker.
Yeah.
He even called himself a guitar thinker. And that's true.
That's right. As you guys have questions out there, please just type them in. If you can do them in all caps, that helps us be able to see them, and we will get to as many questions as we can. I want to talk to you a little bit about Blue Chip Picks. We mentioned them earlier, and the good folks over at Blue Chip Picks sent us some picks that we are going to give away. And wow, some of the great, I was looking on their site. I've heard such great things about them. Mm-hmm. And I saw Ron Block from Alison Krause's band uses them. Chris Thiele uses them. Mm-hmm. And who's the other name I wrote down? Julian Lodge for jazz stuff. Yeah, mm-hmm. Uses them. Great picks. Check them out. Our good friends over at Blue Chip. You can look at them at bluechippick.net. So we're going to give away some. I don't have them with me. They just arrived at my house. So I will mail them out in the morning. But let's go ahead and pick a name for. Good. Okay. The winner of some one or two, I'm not sure how many they sent me, of the Blue Chip Thumb Picks is Jeffrey Gish. Jeffrey Gish, congratulations, you've just won that. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com, your address, what you want, things like that, and we will get that out to you. And I look forward to getting to know Blue Chip, the good folks over there, a little bit better.
Yeah.
Great folks. Great folks. All right. We had a couple of folks ask about exercises that you would recommend for thumb picking.
Okay.
I know you showed us that one. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that comes to mind that has been helpful to you?
Well, I mean, I know that exercise that I walked through earlier, that's a good exercise, but
And
really
starting slow is kind of the key to do a lot of that
But really
stuff.
the thing that kind of got me going with the thumb picking style is just playing songs in that style. I mean, and simpler songs to start out, because you really want to be able to define your fingers, define the melody with your fingers, and kind of separate your thumb from your fingers, in the sense that, like, when you think about it, when you go to grab something, your thumb naturally wants to go with your fingers. So when you're playing this style, you have to separate and train your brain otherwise to not do that.
It's building up that finger independence.
Yeah.
Especially with the thumb. It's tricky.
Yeah.
The only way that I've known to do it is just to work on it slow. Remember Tom Bresch talking about just get that initial movement. Get that movement down where you don't have to think about it. And you're continuing to do that. Work with a metronome till you get it stable. Work on that first.
Always. That's important.
Go through a couple of different chords where you're doing that. Don't worry about the upper notes first. Just try to get that movement steady. Here's a good trick to do it. Do it while watching TV. So you're doing it while your focus is somewhere else so that it becomes background. It becomes automatic. That's where you want it to be, because you're going to have to be thinking about all that chord shapes and the single note melodies that you're putting on top. You don't want that movement, which is complex enough, to get turned around.
Right. And I mean, before you know it, you'll be playing all the time to the point where your mom and dad are like, are you going to do something else? You know, like, but one of the first songs that I learned how to play was a song that actually John D. Loudermilk wrote, but Chet Atkins was the one who made it famous. It was Windy and Warm. That's a good one to get started with.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's a great one. What was the one you were playing earlier? Freight Train.
Freight
That's
Train
another
is a
classic
good one.
beginning one.
Baby's Coming Home also comes to mind.
Yeah. Is there any resources that you've written resources or videos or something like that you've found helpful?
I
don't know of any in that style. There's not much that I know of.
Well, back in the day when I was learning this style, no, actually, I used YouTube a lot, and I still use YouTube.
And what players would you watch?
I mean, just the first one that kind of comes to mind is like Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah.
He's got, actually True Fire is a great
Right.
resource.
Yeah.
And he has courses on there. Another one that comes to mind that he's a really good teacher, and actually a good friend of mine, is Brooks Robertson.
Oh, yeah.
Berkeley graduate.
Yeah.
And he does a great job explaining, really how to separate your thumb from your fingers. And so True Fire is a great resource, but also like YouTube is just, you can find anything on there, as you know.
Yeah.
So.
And I remember we had Joe Robinson not too long ago on the show, and I remember him talking about one of the things that he would practice would be, as you're doing a song, maybe even Windy Warm or something like that, he would practice it at different volume levels. So he would practice it full out, as hard as he could do it. Then he would try and play it again, as soft as he could do it. And what he said that taught him is you then have all this dynamic depth in your playing. You can get loud when you need to, and you can get soft, and so it just widens your playing so much.
Well, and I kind of do some of that as well, but a lot of it is actually with the palm of my hand.
Now, talk to us about where you mute. We had one of the questions there was asking about that. Gene was asking about that.
Yeah, so basically what I do, and I do this without thinking about it now, but so kind of talking my way through it, it's the bottom part of my palm rests on mainly the bottom 4 strings.
So it's not on the bridge; it's slightly in front of the bridge, about a half inch or something like that.
And you don't want to press down all the way because it'll be very muted. And like for instance, if I didn't mute my palm at all the notes would be ringing out versus.
It's a feel thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's just the way that your hand rests is just kind of what mutes the strings, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
you have to angle that hand in a little bit different. It's different from like a finger style approach where your hand is a little bit more out.
Right.
When you're doing thumb picking, you have to be in, and even as opposed to like chicken picking stuff. Then you're really in and you're plucking up.
And
so
it's all in your fingers.
Yeah, it's all. There you go. And you're popping that string out rather than an inward motion.
Yeah.
And really for finger style.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Frank is saying Mississippi John Hurt, another great finger picker. Okay. Let's see. Pat was asking. Scroll back there. A second, Griffin. Pat was asking, is the picking pattern to start with 6-4-5-4? Oh, I guess she's talking about strings.
Okay.
That sort of a thing?
Yeah. Well, again, it depends on the chord that you're playing. Mainly, like if you're playing an E, something where the root is on one of the lower strings. On like the E string, for instance, you're always going to start 6. What was it? 6-4. 5-4. 6-4-5-4. 6-4-5-4. Now, if you play like an A chord, your thumb is going to start on the 5th string.
Yeah, so it kind of reverses there. So that would be 5-4 or 5-3.
Yeah, 5-3-4-3. Or 5-4-6.
Yeah.
Again,
Pat, you're making us think too hard for this. All right. Good. Telleroo was asking, what make is that guitar? It's a Wallace guitar. Do they have different sizes or styles? Or
They do. He can, like I said, he can make any style you want. This is probably more close to like an OM style, but I like to have a cutaway because occasionally I go up to the dusty end up here. But,
there you go.
I've been told that this is the dusty end and this is where the money is.
There you go.
Right in between is kind of like a good place. So
That's right. Fantastic. Okay, another one of the things that the companies that you work with is Page Capos.
Page Capo.
Page Capos, great, great company, and we're going to give away a Page Capo. But tell us about your capo and how you use it.
Excuse me. Yeah. So they have different styles. They have like their click capo, which it has a little button.
Which I think is what this one was.
Yes. That one has a little button where you can tighten it and set it to where it needs to be on the guitar, and then it has an easy, like, quick release. So the button just quick releases it. This one is one, though, that it just has a screw on the bottom of it, and you just tighten it to where it needs to be on the guitar. And also, one of the reasons that I like this is because I am prone to losing capos, because I'll just leave them set somewhere on a chair or something like that. I'm sure some of you guitar players can relate. I can't tell you how many times my mom has found a capo between the couch cushions at home.
There you go. Yeah.
So this has kind of solved my issue with losing capos, because when I'm not using it, I can clip it on and it can rest just right above the nut.
strings.
Yeah. And then when I'm ready to use it, I can just, slide it right up, tighten it on, and also too, I guess the thing with Page Capos is the way that the capo tightens onto the string is it tightens all the strings all at once. This is what Brad from Page Capos was telling me about, is like a lot of times when you put on a capo, it just knocks it out of tune.
Right.
So with these, it tightens all the strings, puts pressure on all the strings at once. Yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go out of tune as bad.
Right.
So that's helpful.
There's different types of capos. You got to find what works for you. Your capo, if it's kind of sometimes a clamp type capo, that will have a tendency to pull these strings with too much force, and it'll start pulling them out of tune, or pull them unevenly, and you got to watch out for that. So that's what's sweet about this capo, is that with everything going on at the same time, it's all equal force that happens with it. Great.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So.
You can check out Page Capos, Paige. That's the name, at pagemusical.com. And let's give away one. This is a Page Capo, 6-string acoustic capo, and they are sending me one. I've just grabbed one here at Groon's, and we will send you the ones that they're sending out to us. And the winner of this is Pat Lindgren. Let's give it to Pat. Congratulations, Pat. Hey, Pat, send me your information. Pat's one of our good, wonderful folks that's come to many of our conferences. She actually heads up the Beginners Jam group, which was fantastic this past year, and so Pat headed all that stuff up. So there you go, Pat. Send me your information at service@mightyoakmusic.com, and we will get that. Excuse me. We will get that out to you. All right. As we're getting ready to kind of land this ship, let me give you a couple announcements, and then you can play us out with a great tune.
Okay.
If any of you guys have one last question, get it in quick before we wrap up here. We will not be having a live lesson next week, but we are going to have a chat on our discussion board at guitargathering.com. We're just going to do a chat same time, Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central, and we'll just have a guitar chat over there. And I'll be over there, and you can bring your questions, and we'll answer them as best we can. We did that about a month ago, and it was a lot of fun, so we'll do that again. The next live lesson that we will be filming, will be on October 1st with Jude Smith. Man, that's going to be a great one. Are any of you guys familiar with Jude? Oh, come. All my Belmont guys. It is not this, but he's a young guy here in Nashville, and I think I don't think he can be over 20. And he does a lot of Strat stuff. Look him up on YouTube. Jude Smith, kind of John Mayer-ish.
Oh, yeah.
And great singer and very vibey player. He's great. I know he hasn't. I know our guitar family is not familiar with him because we've never had him on the show before, but he is fantastic. Check it out, Jude Smith, and he's going to be here with us on October 1st. You can look at his website is judesmithmusic.com. You can check that out. All right, as we're getting ready to land, I would just encourage y'all in your own practicing, as our guitar majors can attest, there's a lot of work that goes into crafting your music. It doesn't just happen, right? You didn't just wake up playing that way.
Right, no.
There's an awful lot of sitting on the couch going.
A lot of frustration.
A lot of that stuff happening.
Yeah.
So that's just part of you growing as a musician. It's worth it. That effort that you put in to craft your music is worth it. So don't get frustrated with the process. That's the process. It's ugly. It's frustrating. Learn to love it. Find a time that works for you to practice, whether it's early in the morning or in the evening or something like that. Tell us about your practicing regimen when you're in kind of a practicing mode. How does that work for you?
Well, I mean, I've never really kept track of how many hours in the day that I practice, but I do practice pretty much every day, even as stressed as I might get with school and things. It's kind of a good release for me, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it can vary anywhere from 3 to 4 hours a day to when I'm home.
What are some
it's all
things
the
that
time.
you're like even now that you're currently working on trying to improve in your own playing? What are some things?
Well, the main thing that I'm trying to work on now is writing. I'm continuing to write my own music and just trying to expand that aspect of things. But also too, I've been fortunate enough to get a lot of opportunities to share my music and perform out for other people.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to work on that and keep my chops up as far as playing songs and a solid set list. And also too, I just really enjoy arranging music too that you might not normally hear on a guitar.
Yeah.
Those are three things that I'm constantly working on and will continue to work on, as well as my singing. I know that's not a guitar thing, but it kind of fits nicely with the guitar.
Yeah.
So.
And performing is a skill in its own right that you have to practice. It doesn't just pop you up on stage and you're fabulous. You got to work at that, at being able to play a song from beginning to end.
For sure.
And no matter what happens,
to
be able to keep it going.
I was around the age of 12 when I really started to perform out, and seems like every year it's just gotten a little bit better, and I've gotten to go to more places. I mean, I had an incredible summer this past summer, getting to travel really different parts all around the country and play and share my music with other people, which is really what I love to do. So.
Songwriting as well. We had a great songwriter. Rob Harris was on the show about 3 or 4 weeks ago. If you haven't checked out that show, that was just some great nuggets on the craft of songwriting. Working a song until you can get it to where it's a completed thought. A lot of good nuggets in that show. Look back, it's about 3 or 4 shows back. Rob Harris on being a singer-songwriter. All right, before you play one last song, I want to thank our producer, Stephen Quinn. Running chat tonight, we have Griffin. Griffin Tenbarge hasn't been with us in about a year, so it's good to have Griffin back. I want to thank our moderators, Doug and Neil, and appreciate you guys. Also, I want to also mention I'm going to be up in Boston, in the Boston area, first weekend in October, doing an interview with Guy Van Duzer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Over at
Say
Berkeley.
hi to Guy for me, please.
I will. I saw him at the Chet convention,
Awesome.
and we worked this out. And my son's up there, and he's doing a big recital too, so
cool.
It'll work out well. And so I'm going to interview him. So I'll be in the Boston area that weekend. Also, we're trying to put something together in Toronto because we have had a couple of people that were interested in kind of bringing a workshop to Toronto. So if you are in Toronto, Canada, and specifically if you know of a place to have it at, that's the thing. A good guitar store or something like that, let us know. And you would be amazed at how little it would take for me and my wife to go to Toronto for a workshop. So, all right. Thank you, guys. What are you going to play for us to finish it out?
Well, I was going to play a new original of mine, talking about writing new songs.
Yeah.
But just real quick before I play this, thank you so much for having me on the show.
It is a treat.
This has
Thank
been
you.
such a good time, and thank you to everybody for being here.
Yes.
All you guys, and also everybody watching online. I feel like I'm talking to a church service or something. Thanks for all you viewers watching online. But no, thanks Mom for having me too. Also, no, thanks to Mom and Dad and all my friends and family for watching online. So appreciate you guys a lot.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. I've appreciated your playing for a long time. I'm so glad our musical worlds have kind of collided now.
Me as well.
And you are officially in the family now. So
Awesome.
we will be calling you back for various things.
Thanks, Steve.
So you an original song.
Yes, this is. I'm calling this one "Twin Spires" after the horse races.
There you go.
Being from Kentucky.
Good, good, good.
There we go.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Hey, keep up the great work in your own learning, and we will see you guys next time.